Have you ever tried to explain yourself again and again, only to realize that the other person never wanted to understand you? You spoke honestly and carefully, hoping your words would clear the confusion. But instead of listening, they twisted your meaning and believed only what suited them. Each time you repeated yourself, the misunderstanding grew deeper. Slowly, you began to feel tired, unheard, and small. This is the story of a man who learned that sometimes words fail, and silence speaks with greater power. It is a story about peace, dignity, and discovering that your actions can reveal more truth than endless arguments ever could. Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by green hills and slow-moving rivers, lived a man named Thomas Gray. Thomas was a lantern maker, known for crafting gentle lights that brightened the dark streets at night. His workshop smelled of oil and warm glass, and his hands were always busy shaping light for others. He was calm, patient, and kind to everyone he met. Though many villagers respected his work, not everyone respected him as a person. Some believed kindness meant weakness, and silence meant guilt. Thomas never imagined that his peaceful nature would soon be tested. Across the street lived Mr. Clark, the village tax collector. He was proud, sharp-tongued, and always suspicious of others. Clark believed authority gave him the right to judge. One day in the marketplace, he loudly accused Thomas of cheating his customers. "Your lanterns are not worth the coins you ask," Clark shouted. People stopped and listened. Thomas felt his face grow warm with embarrassment. He calmly explained the cost of fine glass and quality oil. But Clark did not listen. He only smirked and walked away, leaving doubt behind him like dust in the wind. Days turned into weeks, and the accusations did not stop. Thomas tried harder to explain himself. He spoke about honesty and hard work, about how each lantern was made with care. But the more he spoke, the more rumors spread. Some villagers whispered that Thomas was greedy. Others said he hid coins in his workshop. Every explanation seemed to create another lie. Thomas felt trapped in a storm of words he could not control. His heart grew heavy, and his sleep restless. He began to wonder if truth had any power when people refused to listen. At night, Thomas sat beside his small fire and watched his lanterns flicker softly. "Why can't they see the truth?" he whispered to himself. "Why must I keep explaining who I am?" The flames danced quietly, giving him no answers. He felt tired of defending his name. Each day he worked with care, yet his peace slipped further away. The village that once felt warm now felt cold. Thomas feared that no matter how honest he remained, he would always be misunderstood. His words felt like sparks falling into water, disappearing before they could shine. One morning, the village square filled with noise. A traveler had arrived, an old monk walking through the hills. People gathered around him, seeking blessings and advice. Thomas watched from a distance, unsure if he should speak. When the crowd thinned, he approached quietly. His voice trembled as he said, "Sir, I try to live honestly, but no matter how much I explain myself, people twist my words. What should I do to make them understand?" The monk studied him with kind eyes and waited before answering, as if measuring the weight of Thomas's pain. The monk smiled gently and asked, "Tell me, if a man decides the sky is green, what color will the sky be to him?" Thomas thought for a moment and said, "He will still believe it is green." The monk nodded. "And would your explanations change his eyes?" Thomas slowly shook his head. The monk placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Then stop explaining colors to those who refuse to see. Let your work speak. Silence is not weakness. It is strength wrapped in peace." With that, the monk walked away, leaving Thomas standing in deep thought. Something changed inside Thomas that day. It felt as though a long-burning fire of worry had been gently put out. From that moment on, he stopped defending himself. When people accused him, he simply smiled. When Mr. Clark mocked him in public, Thomas bowed politely and said nothing. At first, the villagers thought his silence meant guilt. "See, he has no words left," Clark shouted proudly. But Thomas did not argue. He returned to his workshop and worked quietly, polishing his lanterns with greater care than ever before. Each evening, Thomas placed a lantern outside his shop. Night after night, its light burned longer and steadier than any other lamp in the village. Travelers passing through noticed its warm glow. They said it made the road feel safer and kinder. Soon, people from nearby towns began to visit Thomas's shop. They did not come because of his words, but because of the peace his lanterns carried. His silence had turned into quiet respect. Without realizing it, Thomas had become known not for defense, but for light. One evening, Mr. Clark himself came to Thomas's shop. He looked uncomfortable and proud at the same time. He placed 3 coins on the table and said, "I need a lantern for my porch." Thomas did not remind him of the insults. He did not defend himself. He simply nodded, handed Clark a lamp, and said calmly, "It will serve you well." There was no anger in his voice, only peace. Clark left without another word, carrying the lantern into the growing darkness. Days later, villagers saw Clark standing outside his home at dusk, staring at the soft flame of Thomas's lantern. Something in his face had changed. Though he said nothing, his eyes revealed understanding. The light showed what words never could. Slowly, the rumors faded. The truth had arrived quietly, without arguments or speeches. Thomas's shop glowed brighter than ever. His silence had become his shield, and his peace had become his wealth. He had learned that dignity grows when you stop fighting shadows with words. Weeks passed, and Thomas continued his work with kindness. He still spoke gently, but he no longer explained himself. If someone misunderstood him, he let them. If someone doubted him, he smiled. His heart felt lighter. He no longer carried the burden of convincing others. Each lantern he made felt like a small promise to himself, to live honestly without fear. His days were calm, and his nights peaceful. The village no longer felt like a battlefield of opinions, but a place of quiet purpose and warm light. One night, as Thomas placed a lantern outside his door, a young boy approached him. The boy looked at the glowing lamp and asked, "Mr. Thomas, why do your lights shine so beautifully?" Thomas looked at the flame and replied, "Because I no longer waste my fire trying to light the darkness inside others. I keep it where it belongs." The boy smiled, and the lantern flickered warmly against the dark sky. In that moment, Thomas knew he had found a deeper truth than any argument could teach. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. When people are trapped inside their own illusions, silence becomes your greatest strength. You do not need to defend your truth to those who have already decided against it. You do not need to explain your heart to those who refuse to listen. Peace is not found in being understood by everyone. Peace is found in knowing yourself and protecting your inner calm. Silence is not surrender. It is wisdom choosing rest over endless struggle. When you stop chasing validation, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel freedom. You no longer shape your life around other people's opinions. You start living for your own peace, not for their approval. Your energy returns to you. Your thoughts grow clearer. Your heart becomes lighter. Like Thomas's lantern, your life begins to shine naturally. Not loudly, not forcefully, but steadily. This is the quiet power of self-respect. It does not demand attention. It simply exists and changes everything around it. Many people waste years trying to prove themselves to those who never cared. They argue, explain, and defend until they forget who they truly are. But real strength is knowing when to stop speaking and start living. Your actions will always speak louder than your excuses. Your peace will always outshine your anger. When you let go of the need to be right in every argument, you gain the gift of calm. And calm is a language everyone understands, even those who once doubted you. This story reminds us that truth does not need to shout. It needs only time and light. Like Thomas's lantern, your character will reveal itself naturally. Let your work be your answer. Let your kindness be your voice. And let silence protect your heart from unnecessary battles. The world is full of noise, but peace lives in quiet places. When you choose silence over endless explanation, you choose strength over struggle and wisdom over chaos. If this story touched your heart, remember there are many more lessons waiting for you. Each story teaches peace, hope, and self-discovery. Thank you for spending this time here. May you stay kind, stay calm, and keep your inner light glowing. And whenever you feel the urge to explain yourself to those who refuse to listen, Remember Thomas Gray and his lantern. Sometimes, the brightest answer is silence.